let me just suggest to you that they're not happy with you at all for doing what you're doing because these are demons. Demons need to push you down for some reason. They need you down, doubting yourself and your reality. So, I just wanted to talk about these things, these kinds of patterns of abuse that happen in people's lives where it's psychological manipulation, psychological warfare, a spiritual warfare, if you will. And it's a campaign for targeted individuals, and people can think that it is what they can think it is what it is. Like if it's just a mental construct or not even allowing us to come out here and have a dialogue, then go away. It takes resiliency to keep your mind focused when these plans are insidious and these acts are insidious over you to poison you up. And despite their effects, when they're meant to break your spirit and break your mind, to break your self control, you have to be spiritually fortified. And so I want to train on that spiritual resiliency that it takes to when you're experiencing these warfares, that you have what it takes to come out on top from it. Because you have to train your mind and strengthen your mind in that spiritual practice that you take with the King James. It's important. It's very important. It's hard. It's hard to keep on track when your mind's been so stirred up from the abuse itself, and then on top of it there's poisoning, on top of it there's gaslighting, on top of it there's the suicidal ideation. That's just, you have to cover it. We want to cover it here. And then there's the surviving the targeting itself, just the abuse, all of the slain, and just ways that they're trying to insidiously act to aim for more abuse, to push you into that ideation. So the first is the gaslighting and psychological abuse. It's where the abusers manipulate victims into thinking and doubting their reality or their experiences is what their experiences is true. In my case, I would even go so much as calling this narcissism, gaslighting, psychological abuse from the system as delusional parasitosis, when I'm actually having real parasites staged upon me or created around me for me. So these were just attempts to get me to convince myself that my own perceptions of my reality were not true, thus discrediting the valid experiences that I've had, and thus it's a common narcissistic abusive way to frame me as the mental unstable or the overly emotional person, unstable, often isolating me from others that would otherwise validate my concerns or value my concerns just in general. But people don't want to value my concerns, rather they just want to poo-poo on them and like leave me out and just devalue me. And I don't like that, because then it gets me to doubt myself. It helps the abuser continue the aggression against me, and then it leads us into the next part, which is targeting us into that induced suicidality, to induce suicidality or the suicidal ideations. It's heartbreaking. It's very heartbreaking, and it's unfortunate because even though you have love for these people, as I've explained, they don't have any such love for you. They're documented in well cases as the abusers intentionally pushing their victims into suicidal ideation. Consistently, they would push me to. I would even admit to it, and there wouldn't be so much as a fucking call in rebuttal. The opposite. No, it would be like, oh, goody, goody gumdrops. We're getting what we wanted, you know. And so you just have to stay mentally fortified to know how to play out these parts. And so even if people don't understand like why I came out with such songs or what I did when I did it, it was to protect myself. If I didn't do what I did when I did it, I wouldn't be here. And if anyone's so hard pressed that I'm still here, go fuck yourself. For real. That's the most heartbreaking and heart-wrenching shit ever. Whether or not you're in direct psychological manipulation, isolation, financial abuse, or technological harassment through hacking, cyber stalking, warfare, in that kind of way, you have to create a mental environment for yourself where you don't feel trapped. You don't feel hopeless. You don't feel like you're unable to escape. And the places that I recommend going to immediately is into combat warfare spiritually, and you go into prayer, describing and aligning with what these patterns are and with the Lord. And by standing firm on your knowledge of your survival kit, the things that you've been having to do to break out from the cycles of abuse and the patterns that have been intended to push you in these places, it's essential to document everything, or at least try and remember as much of it as you can, so that in due time you can protect yourself with your words, because your words are your most important process of being able to reach out to those who could provide legal help, spiritual help, emotional support, financial aid. Reach out to any of these investors that could help me build an unknown thing in Christ type of thing. But it's a very formidable charitable mission that I have written up. I believe has the power to change this whole world. I'm not even kidding you. And I don't even think that I built it single-handedly. But people can believe whatever they want there. All I know is that I feel wholeheartedly that the Lord is not going to be happy if people like me can't get heard and can't get help in that way to be able to do those things, move in those ways, because that's what we call working in iniquity and these insidious behaviors. So next we're going to talk about the survival of the targeting, the abuse. You got to survive it, all of the time. You have to take action all of the time. Even playing on the abusers' expectations to protect yourself, as what I've just mentioned, it shows that you're incredibly powerful and you're spiritually trained for the war that's over you. Do you see what I'm saying? So when you go into spiritual combat, and it's much like sleeping with the enemy. You know, she knew what she was up against. She knew what she had trained to go up against. And those enemies are always going to be present in the most insidious of times, because they're always lurking, and that's what it's to show in the movie. But this is, hacking and stuff like this is much worse, and it's much more insidious, because it's inside of your data, it's inside of your life, it's inside of your finances, it's pushed you out of yourself. Clear out of yourself. So you have to realize that what's happening to you is a meticulous plan of their own escape. Now, when you're said to find out these things, they're methodically pressing upon you because they don't want you to be able to resist the overwhelming pressures that they've created for you. Rather, they want you pushed under. And so sometimes it's really hard when you're pushed and hard pressed in that way, because it creates a suicidality. You just don't want it so bad. You're like, I didn't ask for this. You get it? And so if you're in that way, it includes prayer. It includes meditation. It includes strengthening your mind. It includes learning to protect your own heart, your own heart's and soul's desires against these attacks. These insidious attacks are constant and they are constant because even if there's nothing going on at the time, you can sure as bet that your activities are all being recorded, monitored, to be able to be used in the future. You see what I mean? And so people have to connect the dots there as far as the mental constructs of using exercise and prayer as a valuable tool here. And especially when you've been the witness to moments of finding clarity and finding release from harmful energies. You know what I mean? And you do. Like, when I stay away from people in general, I feel better. And yeah, I have grown a new fear of the unknown, like outside, because of so many attacks that's like constricted my abilities to continue to go when I'm just so hard pressed. It's like, okay, well, it's a design meant to get you to give up on yourself, and so I basically have barricaded myself now in a way because I don't want to go out there and end up dead. I can't get an answer from anybody if they would actually go and do those things. Just end up possibly ending up dead. And so I can't get a clear answer from anybody out here on that fashion. But my answer to myself is no. My answer to myself is I don't give a fuck. All of this is just materials. The only thing that matters in a war over my life, this type of World War III, where it's like very mental. It's a mental war that isn't going to be able to be denied soon. I mean, the Lord our God is not happy about how people are acting. I don't feel. And regardless on whether or not that happens today or tomorrow or a week from now, it's going to happen soon, if you ask me, because connect the dots. Trump's ear got shot. Shots fired, shots missed. Shots fired, shots missed here too. Connect the dots. Those recent shootings in with the same situation. Where like everyone's ending up dead. Everyone's heart is a complete fucking wreck. I don't know, connect the dots. There's many ways that people have been targeted in this way. But by acknowledging all of these incidents in your life, not only is it isolating, but it's interconnected as a part of that crime against you. And you're able to see then a bigger picture of it. Not the whole thing, but you're able to see a bigger picture of it now. And then people likely want to obscure your actions under the guise of mental illness and coincidence and whatever. Random camaraderie that's just bullshit. Causing for more urban blight in your life, might I add. And slightly revealing your true intentions in that nature was to expose how these things are happening. Like, you're being targeted. I just want a way out without being targeted anymore. That's all I want. I want to be able to go to work and live my own life. Enjoy the fruits of my own labor. Not be a slave. But these documents are putting pieces together and puts the pieces of the puzzle together perfectly. Perfectly. And so people aren't going to be able to doubt those realities when they come back into existence in the fashion of like, oh no, bitch, God ain't going to be a God. I'm sorry to take that tone, but our Lord ain't about to play. Our Lord is the vengeance. And so people have to realize that through these poisonings, through the targeted isolation, through the hacking, through the pushing, through the misaligning of your intentions, through the painting you up as cray cray, through all of these ways, it's only helping you uncover a deeper truth about their own insidious actions, their own actions providing the evidence that you need. See what I mean? About what to do next. And then it's just you have to be able to be willing to build that case. Surround yourself with people that care if you can. I have a problem with finding community-based, faith-based people anywhere that are willing to actually counsel me on the level of this kind of advocacy group that I'm willing to try and construct. No one needs to be spread off in 86 different lanes, trying to figure out all the ways that they have to figure out all of the loose ends, per se. Through this kind of hacking, where they get people working, like, against you. Paid. I'm not going to tolerate it. And it is. It was meant to push me under in ways that these people thought I wouldn't be here today to do so. So they really, if I ever got this stuff into an actual courts with real fucking people, not some fucking more criminal law over a targeted individual, it's just bullshit. There's no validity that this man ever gets to live. This one right here. And all these people get to get away with the whole shit show of satanic ritual abuse over me. And it's just like I said. I saw when Justin Bieber won on Idol. I don't remember who I saw, whose eyes I saw, but I think I remember saying to like my mom, like, oh God, they're just gonna fuck that kid's life up. You can see it. Like, I saw it. I'm like, oh God, I feel bad for that kid. Like, yeah, they're gonna, like, if you ask me, that's what's called love bombing. And then they're gonna love bomb the shit out of that kid and then pump him up full of these dreams. And they're gonna fucking just rip his life away from him. And look what happened to the fucking kid. Satanic ritual abuse. Same shit I'm trying to bring out here now. In a different spectrum, but it's the same shit. Anyway, I want people to know that they're not alone in their battle, that others have been out here in these situations facing the same psychological warfare, hacking, isolation, and even orchestrated targeting. But you are equipped to overcome these tactics when you use resiliency, faith, and overcoming awareness. I don't care if you have to walk away from all of your shit, lift up yourself, and just act like your house is dropped on them motherfuckers. Because it basically is. They wanted it so bad. They wanted your life so bad. And that way, they're going to have to face their maker. And they're not going to like it so much. So they're not going to like you coming out here either. Anyway. Empower yourself with the Lord alone. And validate yourselves with the Lord alone in these situations, because the people that you feel are supposed to be accountable in these ways when these things are happening, or not accountable, the people that you feel that you have loving you that are in your corner, who you think you have to go to hard press when you're hard pressed, I guess. It just keeps the fight in your own defense. When people doubt you and push you into ways that are leaving for more availability for this own uncovering of their actions that have left you in such a hard-pressed way to leave you in not any good way at any place in your life to reclaim your power. And so, if that's how it is, and it's just war-made, like, people react because they are so hard pressed. And that's the most insidious tactic I could ever think of. Is just I'm coming out here saying all of this stuff and that it's all been orchestrated. And it's murder. It's premeditated murder over me. And yet, all they can do is take these two things and do nothing? No such thing. How? I want to know how. Is it the same thing as this deep state cabal, like the whole pedophilia ring going down? Is it the same thing as Hollywood going down? Is it the same thing as P. Diddy having an underground tunnel from his mansion all the way underground to the White House? How many floors deep is that? It goes deep enough. It goes deep enough, right? These things are real. And people want to deny it. Deny it all you want. But you want to wonder where that many millions of children are going every year. And why they're going missing every year. Well, now you know. There's a bunch of kids in dungeons that need our help. And you should stop sitting on these fucking things. Or take off whatever badge you got. Whatever money they're paying you ain't good enough anyway. You're more valuable than whatever the fuck you're being paid. Ooh, like fiat currency has ever done anything for us. Which war has it solved? Which thing has fiat currency helped? In America. For Americans. Where they can as well to be fortified enough to not be disenfranchised through satanic ritual abuses, to then not be able to go after a thing in their life. We're told in school, if you work hard enough, you can do anything you put your mind to. And it's bullshit when you're a slave and you're fucking owned. So until people see that and see how we should be able to deserve that emotional advocacy to be built around a very constructive reality that we've been faced up with alone, then it is. What do you get when you're going to sit on these two things and not do anything? When it comes to these things that I'm mentioning, these topics, what do you get? War. War is what you get. Because of the shit that you did. By sitting on these things. By doing nothing. Freedom is only going to be in store if people are willing to stand up for it. And fight for it. But your children's lives are never going to be anything but slaves if we're going to sit on these things and not realize what we are actually faced up with in this day and age. Because this satanic ritual abuse to these levels is war made. And that's my word. Stay safe. Peace out.